Hello everyone. In another video I showed how to transition from one slide to the other. So let me just show that real quick here. If you go and look at this slideshow from the beginning, which of course I have a couple of pictures, some text, a couple of backgrounds. So from the beginning, everything is just there, which doesn't really use the features of PowerPoint that I'm going to show you in this video, which is how to animate these things on your slide. But I do have a slide transition. So when this slide changes to the next, it comes in like that. Okay, so that's a slide transition. But what you really want to work on is animations of the elements on your slideshow, on each individual slide. And you can see right here a nice useful thing. It says select an element of the slide, then click Add Effect to add animation. So I'm going to click on this picture right here, and I'm going to Add Effect. Entrance is how things appear, come onto the slide. Emphasis is what they do once they're there. Exit is how the element disappears from the slide or goes off the slide. And these motion paths are things you can play around with if you want. You can do some really silly creative things if you want. But these are the three basic things. So when I go to entrance, you'll see a list of 7 things here. It's things I've done recently. Color typewriter is grayed out because I used it on text, but you can't use it on a picture. So it's on the list, but it's not something I can choose when a picture is selected. So I'm going to choose fly in because it's right off my list here. And that's what it's going to look like. Then I'm going to add another effect. You can do more than one effect on each element. Instead of entrance now, I'm going to go to emphasis. And although spin is on my list, oops, I clicked by accident. That's okay. Let's leave that there. And I'm also going to do an exit. So that this time, instead of clicking by accident on one of these, I'm going to go down and click more effects, which is what I wanted to show you before, that it brings up a dialog box that shows all the effects you can put on this picture, not just the 5 or 6 or 7 that you used recently. And because this is checked, preview effect, when I click on any of these, it'll show me what that effect looks like. Okay, so if you didn't know a wedge spun around like that, you do now. I kind of like this more exciting ones. And then you also have the moderate, subtle, and up top, of course, is basic. Actually, I'm going to go to moderate and choose this sink down because I kind of like that. Okay, so yeah, that's what I want. So I click OK. But how does it all look? Well, you can play a little preview here, and it shows you how it looks. But it goes all automatically. It doesn't wait for you to click. I don't want to do that. If I click slideshow, it shows me from the beginning. Slideshow from the current slide. If you want to go from the beginning, you can go up to slideshow and choose from the beginning. But I do want to just watch it from the current slide, which is the beginning. So I'm going to click this button, and then it shows me full screen, which is the way I want it. And then if I click, you'll see the picture comes in, it spins around, and then it sinks down. Click again, the next slide comes in, click again, and then the slideshow is over. Okay, if I want to add an effect to the text, I click on the text, I go to Add Effect, Entrance, and now you can see I can choose that color typewriter. And if I go to Add Effect and Emphasis on the text, you'll see I can change the font, font size, font style. All of these things obviously are not available with a picture because we're talking about fonts. Okay, and then of course you can go to More Effects and you can choose different things. Here, I don't know, how about this bold reveal? What's that look like? Sometimes the text doesn't always work the way you want, especially if you've used word art. Wave is pretty cool. So you might like that. You click OK. Alright, and let's not even put an exit on the text. So let's look at our slideshow now. Okay, Buzz Lightyear's there right from the beginning because we did not animate him. Here comes our picture, then it spins around, then it sinks down, and then the text comes in, and then it does a little wave. Okay, say, well, wait a second, I kind of wanted that text to come in first so everybody knew what I was looking at before the picture came in. Okay, well, that's no problem. Drag this up to be the first thing. And because they were both selected, when I dragged, they both went up. So now I have, and when you put your mouse over this, it tells you what you have. It says on click, color typewriter, text box 7, Magic Kingdom, yada yada. Okay, the next one is on-click the wave. Okay, and you'll notice little icons here. This icon, click away from this. This icon right here stands for an entrance. Then you have your emphasis, and then you have your, well, the yellow one's the emphasis, and the red one is an exit. Just like if you were to click here, you could see green is entrance, yellow is emphasis, red is exit. Okay, so this one is on click, and it's the wave. Okay, so it's a little hard to see, but it starts at yellow and it goes to blue. So that's why it's an emphasis. Whereas this one, more of a green thing, so a little hard to tell sometimes. Okay, but this is definitely an emphasis, and this is an entrance. So let's take a look at this. First it comes on the screen with the color typewriter, then it does the wave, and it stays because we don't have an exit, which is good because we want it to stay. The picture comes in, spins around, and then it sinks down. Rather than click to go to the next slide, I'm just hitting escape to end the show. I'm going to say, but there is something I wanted to do differently. I wanted these two things to happen at the same time, meaning I want it to fly in and spin together. So on this one, I'm going to click on this animation, and we have some options here. When does it start? How much does it spin? And the speed. I'm going to change this from on click to with previous. Now when we look at the slideshow, these two things are going to happen together. So I'm going to click slideshow, the text, and then the little wave, and then it flies in and spins. But I kind of wanted it to fly in and spin starting at the same time, but also ending at the same time, which clearly it didn't. So let me hit escape. And what's the reason for that? Well, this entrance, although the entrance and the emphasis do start at the same time, because the emphasis says with previous, the emphasis finishes in a time or speed of medium. But the fly-in is very fast. And so the fly-in ends before the spin. So if I put this to match the spin, then they'll end at the same time as well. So I have medium on my spin, so I'm going to go up to my fly-in and change that to medium. I could have changed the spin to very fast, but I kind of like it moving a little slower. So I'm going to leave both of them on medium. Look at the slideshow. My text, my wave, and then my picture comes in. As it comes in, it spins, and it ends at the same time. Now, you may or may not like it that way. Maybe you liked it the other way better, but I kind of think ending at the same time looks nice. So that's why I'm changing it to that. Okay, you can also right-click on these animations and choose Start on Click, Start with Previous, Start after Previous. You can also go to Effect Options. Okay, so here's that timing thing, on click. You could choose after previous, and you could also set how long after the previous so that it happens automatically. But what I kind of like is leaving most of the things on click because I want to control my slideshow. So I'm showing it to an audience. I'm going to be there. If you wanted to have this slideshow play all automatically, perhaps you're not going to be there. It's going to be on some screen somewhere that no one's controlling and it just continually loops. You can go up, you can set all of these with some timings as I showed you, going to Effect Options or just straight to Timing. Okay, set up all your timings if you like. And then you can go to Set Up Slideshow. And over here, say it's browsed at a kiosk, which means there's nobody there watching. You have used timings if present, which they will all be present because you set them up. You can loop it continuously so that it doesn't stop until someone hits the escape key. But for my purposes, I'm just going to leave it all on click with a mouse unless I wanted two things to happen together. Okay, so this is how you add animations to the elements on your slideshow and how you can customize them to make it look however it is you want the animations to look. Whether you blend them together, just use them single, one or more animations on a component, or just one. Okay, but with some animations, you have a slideshow. You don't just have pictures appearing on screen.